Higgsfield just released their new image model Soul 2.0, and they claim that it is the best AI image generator for fashion, aesthetics, and character consistency. But over the past week, I tested it out and compared it to Nanobanana 2, and I'm about to show you where it's great and where you definitely shouldn't use it. Higgsfield gave me access to this tool, so they're sponsoring this video, but as always, my opinions are my own, and if it sucks, I'm gonna tell you it sucks. We're gonna cover the quality of the model, posing physics, style presets, color control, accuracy of digital characters, and finally, one huge downside that I found with Soul 2.0 and how to get around it. One of the features that Higgsfield is really trying to convey with this Soul 2.0 release is that the model actually has style and taste. It's not gonna give you images that look like AI slop. It's also supposed to understand historical fashion and culture cues. To test this, I came up with 3 simple prompts, and I'm pitting Soul 2.0 against Nanobanana 2. Here's the first prompt. Editorial street fashion shoot in New York City in 1984. Pretty simple. Here are 2 results. First, let's take a look at Higgsfield's Soul 2.0. This image is shot just like a magazine editorial. The fashion of the women is really not over the top 80s here, but between the pants, the belts, and the collars, this definitely does feel like the 80s, just not in a gaudy way. Nanobanana 2, on the other hand, went full-on 80s mode with bright colors, big hair, a fanny pack, and jeans. It also took a different direction of the image itself, giving us a photo of the shoot taking place as opposed to a photo from the shoot. There's also a lot more detail in the location. This is clearly New York, and the Soul 2 image could really kind of be any city. Let's take a look at another example, and I'll tell you some major differences that I'm seeing between the 2 models. These 2 images come from a super short prompt. Y2K club scene portrait of 2 women. The Nanobanana image is filled with super bold references to the Y2K colorful style, with the pink and blue and the sparkles, while the Soul 2.0 image is much more understated. This picture looks like it might have actually been taken in a club. There are some subtle hints of the era with this woman on the left's hairstyle, but beyond that, it just kind of looks like an image taken on an old digital camera. The lighting styles of these 2 images is the biggest difference though. The Nanobanana image feels lit artificially all the way across, while the Soul image feels really grounded. You can see the same sort of thing if we go back and compare the 2 street photos again. Which model's better? I don't know. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. Nanobanana is basically the model that you should use if you want to create a scene, and Soul 2.0 is the model that you should use if you want to be in a scene. Having said that, let's take a look at these 2 coastal pictures. Which one do you think is Soul 2.0? Let me know your guess in the comments. Now that we've seen how Soul 2 performs visually, I want to test it against Nanobanana when it comes to model posing. AI images can be kind of bad at positioning human models in a relaxed way without unnatural bends in their limbs and stuff. First, I gave the AI models a nice long descriptive prompt for an image of a woman on a beach. You can pause the screen and read the whole thing here if you want, but the important things to notice are that I want a full body shot with a model lying on her side with her hand propping up her head. Here's the image that I got from Nanobanana. This is very technically correct. It did everything that I asked for, but there's something about it that just kind of feels forced. I don't know why. I think it might have to do with the fact that her body is just a little bit off the ground here. For contrast, here is the Higgsfield Soul 2.0 generation. This one has issues with following the prompt. It did not give me a full body shot. You can see it's cut off at her knees. But the woman's pose and the colors of the picture just feel so much more real and relaxed. Go back and take a look at the Nanobanana image again, and then come back here. It's just kind of intangible, but I wouldn't think twice if I saw this one on a billboard. I tried the same image idea again, but this time with a much simpler prompt. Full body image of a woman laying sideways on a beach towel by the ocean, wearing a red one-piece swimsuit. The difference here is absolutely huge. Soul still cut off the knees, but the picture looks really nice and the shadows are absolutely spot on. Nanobanana 2 gave me a really simple one that looks like an iPhone image, and I've never seen a leg bend the way that her right leg is bending back there. So Soul 2 wins again, but let's see how these models handle action shots. I generated an image of a guy playing tennis. This is another complex prompt, and the player is supposed to be backhanding the ball on a return. Here's Nanobanana 2. It did a pretty good job with the technical aspects of this one. Even the logos on the guy's shoes are accurate, which is crazy. But the orientation of the court in the background is all wrong. Soul 2, on the other hand, got the court perfect, but the player is forehanding the ball, not backhanding it. The rest of the image feels super aesthetic and staged though. The composition feels really intentional, and this guy is like almost posing with the ball. This could be a good thing if that's what you're going for, but if you're looking for something that's like more grounded and real, then Nanobanana's generation is technically better. Finally, let's do one more posing test with a woman sitting cross-legged by a window. Nanobanana gave me this shot, which honestly does not feel natural at all. Everything from the camera position to the way the woman's hands are folded, and she's sitting so perfectly straight that it just feels pretty forced. You might not have noticed that right away, but look how it compares to Soul 2. The posing, facial expression, and composition of this image is leagues better than Nanobanana. It's not even close. So Nanobanana does better when it comes to prompt adherence, but when it comes to posing, composition, and lighting, Soul 2.0 comes out way on top. Style is obviously something that Higgsfield is massively emphasizing with this new model. They have a really solid logic for generating images that look like they were shot on a Polaroid or an iPhone or film or DSLR, which is neat, but there's not really a ton to analyze here. So far, I've just been testing generations with the general style preset, but there's also a ton of other style presets designed to give your image a very specific look. To test these out, I generated the same simple prompt of a model walking through downtown with every single preset. It would take me ages to go through all of these individually, but suffice it to say that the preset affects the image a lot. This is the picture that I got with the Y2K Street preset, and here's the one using theatrical light. Here's Mystique City, and this is Fruitager Arrow. All of these came from the exact same prompt. Some of these styles are a little bit too bold, or even a lot too bold for me, but I do think that it's fun to play around with. Take a look at these two pictures. I asked for a shot of me in a suit and ran it through the Y2K Studio preset and the Retro Black and White preset. And I was able to get both of these images of me with the Soul 2.0 character reference tool, which I'll cover in a second. First, I want to tackle one other thing when it comes to stylization. Like I said, these presets are pretty bold, but you can use much more subtle style control with Soul 2.0's Hex tool. At least that's what they promise. Let's say I want to make a bigger collage to go along with this beach photo. It would be great to have pictures that matched this color scheme exactly. With the Hex tool, I just uploaded this image and it detected the whole color palette of the scene with its oranges and its greens. Now with this color transfer preset selected, I'm going to try generating 3 new photos to go alongside that first shot. Wow, that actually worked really well. Every one of these shots has a super similar color scheme. The only one that I think is a little off is maybe this sunscreen shot, but this was my first generation for it, so really not bad at all. I'm sure if I iterated it a couple more times, I'd get a closer result. What if we create the same collage, but with the violet colors from this shot? Dang, it kind of nailed it. 2 thumbs up on the new Hex Color Tool. You can also take any of your generations that fit a specific style and then create your own preset called a mood board. So I'm going to take all of these soft teal and orange beach images and create my own mood board that I can use to generate a new image in the same style later. This is customization that actually goes beyond color. It'll do all sorts of like weird stylistic things to the images that you want, but it is kind of advanced and I don't really have my own unique like defined style yet, so I'm definitely not getting the most of it. It would be super helpful though if you had a brand that had a very distinct style. So that's there. I'm not really able to stress test it too much, but I think it's a cool feature. Finally, we need to address the big one, Soul 2.0 character. Higgsfield's old character models really did not impress me at all, so I'm hoping that the new 2.0 version can finally make generating shots featuring myself consistent and accurate. To create my AI avatar, I took a crap ton of selfies and created a new character with them in Soul 2.0. Now we're going to compare 3 different images with 3 different distinct lighting styles between Soul 2.0 with character reference and Nanobanana Pro with my headshot as a facial reference. We're gonna do a blind test. So first just take a look at these 2 images of me in a suit. Which one do you think looks more like me? This is Soul 2. This is Nanobanana Pro. How about these 2 images? This one's not even close. This is Nanobanana Pro, and this is Soul 2. I even tried uploading a ton of different selfies for the visual reference of my face for Nanobanana Pro on this one, and somehow the result got even worse. Finally, check out this Polaroid image. Which one do you think is Nanobanana and which one is Soul 2? This is Nanobanana and this is Soul 2. This third image of the pool party is really the only one where I think I look more accurate with Nanobanana Pro, but the Soul one isn't really all that bad either. And I actually think the lighting might be a little bit better on that one. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the results, if this is what you were expecting, and how many of them you got right. I honestly think that Soul 2.0's character reference is the best way to get consistent characters across images these days. It's not perfect, but it's certainly a step forward, even from Nanobanana Pro. The only thing is you can't use Soul 2.0 for face swaps. You can upload an image and have it generate a similar one with your character based off of that uploaded image, but there's no real way to get it to simply swap the face of you onto the subject of the image without changing anything else. That's not the only issue that I ran into with this model though. It's definitely not a replacement for Nanobanana yet because it cannot render text well at all. Take a look at this sunscreen bottle. I mean, it's just kind of covered in gibberish. Now that doesn't mean that this image is completely worthless, it just kind of serves as a good starting point. I can take this sunscreen bottle and import it to Nanobanana Pro and then ask it to change the text rendered on the bottle to actually make sense. That way we have good text, but we still retain the style and the feel of the original Soul generation. Soul 2.0 is also not at all for cinematic images or exact control. It basically just does fashion and editorial style images, but it does them really well. And I think that there's something to be said for specialization there. So who's it for? Well, if you're interested in creating super high-end looking fashion or magazine style photos, Soul 2.0 is the best model I have ever used for that. It would also be amazing for AI influencer photo generation as well. But don't expect this to replace Nanobanana for everything, especially cinematic images. Now, if you want to learn more about making cinematic images on Higgsfield and see what I think of their new cinema studio, check out this video right up over here.